That's the one thing for me. I think my sphere and friend group has exploded because I care about who I sell houses to, and I check in on them, and I want to make sure that they had a good summer, and then their kids won their football games and all the important things. So I really love selling to people that actually live at the beach because that's a perfect lifestyle.
Hey, I'm Nate Carver, and welcome to Between Two Doors. This is Nate Carver with Between Two Doors, and today we are talking to the amazing Wanda Jackson. If you are looking to buy or sell a home in the Panama City, Destin, Panhandle area of Northwest Florida, you definitely need to meet Wanda. Wanda, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you, Nate.
It's good to see you too. Tell me what got you into real estate?
Well, my husband was in the Air Force for 21 years, so it's not really easy to start a career as an Air Force spouse because you move a lot. And I homeschooled my kids for 9 of those years into their high school years. So when they started getting smarter than me, and my husband and I are sitting around talking about what I was going to do when they grew up, real estate's interesting to us. We've bought and sold and invested before just as a family. And I really like to connect people and help people make their dreams come true. And so I feel like that was a good transition experience for me. So I thought, hey, what better way to make dreams come true than help people buy something at the beach?
Nice. So tell me about that first closing. What
So
did that mean
it
to
takes
your
a minute when
buyers?
you've
Oh,
never
God.
done real estate before.
Yeah.
It took me 6 months before my first closing happened.
6 months.
Wasn't my first sale. My first closing was not my first sale. My first sale was a new construction.
Oh, okay.
It happened. I got my license in 2019, and it took a minute to build it. So I had another client, and we found they were moving from Boston down to Florida. They wanted to live close to the beach, so we found their perfect home in Inlet Beach, and we did all the things that I was trained to do, and I contacted all the people in the right time frames that I was supposed to contact, and
Hey.
and there was a seller's disclosure involved that was not honest. So a week
Oh,
before closing, there was a big tropical storm here on the Panhandle, and the roof leaked, and it was a repetitive leak. So my very first actual deal became one of my hardest deals in the past 5 years because there was some non-disclosures happening, and my guy wanted to sue the seller. And I will tell you, a title company is worth their weight in gold because they quelled all the problems and all the alarm, and they handled it seamlessly. So we got to the closing table 3 days later than we were supposed to, but I really didn't think it was actually going to close. Um,
wow.
Title lawyers are fabulous. That's all I'll say
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, it's this business is wonderful. You get to bring people, especially where I live, because I
Yep.
get to. Yesterday, I showed 6 condos, and every single one of them you could see white sand and emerald water. And I don't think there's much better than that. Like, I love my job. I love
That's
making
already
people's
peaceful.
dreams come true. It is peaceful. When I open the door and they hear the waves, they're like, "Oh, okay, I'll buy
The
this."
breeze.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
You can
So
do that all day long.
all day long. It's real hot right now, but maybe next month
Yeah.
all day long. Um, so yeah, that was my first deal. It's about 6 months into me being a realtor. And that first year, I think I sold 9. I closed 9 homes. Second year, I closed 18 homes. Third year, I closed 21 homes. So it's been in the 20s since then. So
Yeah.
I love
Wow.
what I do. And the home, like for me, I would have sold a $90,000 piece of land or a $20,000 piece of land to begin with. And the market here has exploded since COVID. So
Hmm.
um, I feel like I love what I do. I love to connect veterans and first time home buyers. Man, Nate can get anybody financed. Um, but I also really, really love to help people build their investment portfolio. I like to
Right.
punch those numbers, and it is fun to buy stuff at the beach. So I won't stop.
It is. Tell me what that was like for any of those home buyers on the beach. Maybe they came from somewhere landlocked, which is anywhere north of Florida, right? So,
Yeah. I mean,
um, anywhere not
the
Florida.
people from Boston weren't landlocked, but he grew up coming here and his wife was from
Mhm.
Venezuela and she'd never seen sand like that.
It's true.
So, um,
The
the
sand on
experience
that
that we've
beach.
had has been fabulous and still very, very dear to my heart.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing for me. I think my sphere and friend group has exploded because I care about who I sell houses to, and I check in on them, and I want to make sure that they had a good summer, and then their kids won their football games, and all the important things. So I really love selling to people that actually live at the beach because that's a perfect lifestyle. But those people that live, I have a client from Wisconsin and they bought a beach house here and they don't rent it out in the winter because they don't want to be in Wisconsin in the winter. And
Mhm. I don't
when
blame them.
we got their home under contract and they made the money that they made this summer, and they get to come down here and live in this beautiful home that they spent over $1 million on that's been paid for the whole year just from their summer rentals. That's a dream come true for them. So their whole thing to me is I can't believe you made it happen.
Yeah.
They don't since COVID people can telework, so they don't want to telework from the icy snowy Wisconsin
Yeah. You can
house.
come to Northwest Florida, have a winter white
Right.
Christmas.
Yeah. So I love that story. I love that they love that their house is paying for itself. Um, and then I have a couple from St. Louis that I've just like I went down to Orlando to her daughter's national volleyball championship because we've just become friends. And they're on
Hmm.
the property with me and they're wonderful. And so it's just wonderful to be able to help people get to what they plan to want to do with their life, where they want to spend their time. So
Right. I love it. Relationship. It's all
it's
relationship.
all about relationship.
It really is. I remember there was a company not that long ago, maybe in the last 2 years ago, they were just knew they had cracked the code on real estate. I'm not going to drop their name.
I don't do
And and it their intent was to take over the real estate world, lenders and real estate agent side, finding homes, but homeowners and sell people selling their homes, people looking to buy a home totally rejected it. They spent $1 billion and they lost $1 billion because they couldn't bridge the gap between their technology and relationship.
yeah.
And real estate agents, like yourself, the real estate agents that I know that are successful in their careers, every one of them is personal. It's a
Yeah.
personal relationship. They have from the like yourself, they close the people they help buy that first home, they're still friends with,
Oh, yeah.
legitimate friends and
Oh, yeah.
invested in
Yeah.
their
Like
lives.
Christmas
So
card friends are
sure.
one thing, but like, hey, I saw your kid's high school won their football game. Did he get to play? That kind of thing means the world.
Yeah, it does. Good for you. So number of years in the real estate now, how many?
Five.
Five?
Five. Next week is 5 years.
You're doing fantastic. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I, I love working with you and you're just fantastic. I didn't know it was 5 years. Fantastic. Any funny, crazy stories in the past 5 years?
Oh gosh. I mean, you and I had a fun time financing somebody that we had to backwards engineer a loan for, but that was more not funny, but not even fun. But we got
Uh,
it done. I think I have,
got
I
them.
have like I name my clients, right?
Uh-huh.
So I sold a penthouse condo in Destin that's got 2-story, gorgeous Gulf views, was a definite fixer upper for like $1.2 million. And it wasn't to one person or a couple couples, it was to 11 parties. So they're my Ocean's 11 clients, obviously.
Good,
And
good.
I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do that. I really didn't know that wasn't a thing. It was like my second year in real estate. And so I got this lead. I took the two ladies that were here in town looking at places to lunch next to my office, and we go look at these condos. And this one had the views for days, and it was just like the view was amazing, and the building was amazing, and the interiors were awful. But when you get 11 ladies together, they can redesign an interior. And I have a guy for all the things. So this was what they decided on, and they all 11 parties kind of like descended onto my conference room with all, they're very powerful people, all of them. They were all paying an 11th of the cost for cash. So then
Mhm.
cash
Wow.
deal. And then they were all contributing an 11th of the reno cost and the furnishing cost, right? So it really turned out great for them. They don't rent it. It's like a timeshare with friends.
Oh, love that. That's
So
awesome.
I didn't know what I didn't know. I just said, sure, we can do that. And so I get them all in my conference room, and like, we need a lawyer to do an LLC. I'm like, sure, I got one of those. So I time slotted them, and then they wanted to talk to my reno guy. So he had an hour. Then I had an interior designer that had an hour, and I ordered in charcuterie and wine and Prosecco and mineral water, and the whole conference room for 6 hours was 11 very powerful business owners buying a condo. And so I was just doing my thing and getting it done. And then they all leave about 6 hours later, and I walk out of my office, and one of the owners of our company is like, that was the most incredible thing I think I've ever seen. I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. I didn't know you shouldn't do it. He's like, I've never seen anybody do that before. What you don't know can sometimes help you. But that was the craziest deal I've ever done. 11 very powerful business owners. Takes a minute to get to agree on things. So
Yeah.
that was interesting. And then I have like a couple repeat clients, and one of them owns an Asian restaurant in a casino, and she's one of my favorite people. I mean, I've been to her home in Memphis for dinner. She's been to my home for dinner. But when I first got to meet her, it was my very first website lead from our company. And I called her back sooner than anyone else called her back. And she wanted to buy an investment condo because she had sold a couple of rentals in Memphis, and she wanted a 1031 exchange. That was my first 1031 exchange.
Oh, those are
1031 exchange that money into a condo on the beach. So we looked at a couple things for the weekend she was here, and then she went back and she'd send her son down to look at things because she runs a restaurant. She never stops working. And her son, we went and looked at a high-rise condo in Panama City Beach. It's a very high turnover, break your furniture every year, spring breaky type of place, right?
Mhm.
But it makes money. And so we left from looking at that, and her son called her and said, Mom, you're not going to like this. You're not going to want to bring your grandkids here. And she's like, okay, okay. And so they hang up, and I get back in my car, and she calls me like 30 seconds later, and she's like, Wanda. I'm like, yeah. She goes, am I going to make money? I'm like, sure, you're going to make money. She's like, I'm not making memories. I'm making money. I will buy it. So I have a whole series of sayings from this person because she can quip them off like that. So this isn't a make memory. This is a make money property. And she'll shoot them out all the time. She's probably purchased 4 things from me, and she buys them and she sells them. And I didn't know when I took the lead that for a $200,000 condo in Panama City Beach, that she was selling 36 properties in Memphis and putting all that money here.
Oh, wow.
So she buys a property from me about once every 9 months. And
Wow.
I'm the only person she deals with because I answered the phone. So
Yeah,
that's a cool story, I think.
that is very cool. It's
Yeah.
a excellent endorsement of you. I'm telling you, you're fantastic. You're ordinary. What's ordinary to you is extraordinary to those 11, the Ocean's 11. You know, you
Just do
that's
it.
you. It's just like it's what I do. So
Yeah.
good for you. Tell me, what do you do when you're not doing real estate? If you ever take time off from real estate, what do you love doing?
Well, I love my family and I love my church.
Yeah.
So typically what I'm doing that's not here revolves around that. I walk on the
Good.
beach a lot. Um, but my boys are both in college in Birmingham, Alabama, and that's about 3.5, 4 hours away. So
Okay.
I drive up there a little bit. My son got married. My oldest son got married this past summer. So I spent about a year helping plan that because I love to throw a party. Um, and I love to cook. I cook. I love to cook. I'm a foodie. So I do a lot of that for my church. We have weddings, we have funerals, we have celebrations.
Mm.
I'm the person that coordinates all of that at my church. I lead Bible studies for women in my church, and I teach Sunday school for kids and youth. So, and I'm part of a lot of committees and organizations that have to do with real estate.
Mhm.
So I do the global committee because I love to travel. I'm an empty nester. My husband and I will pick up and go when we don't have responsibilities at church.
Yeah.
So I think probably if you told me ask me your three favorite things to do with your free time, which is not very often, it would be cook for friends and family, travel, and walk on the beach.
Do you have a favorite meal that if you were like, this is the meal that I want to cook that everybody knows me for?
Everybody knows me for my smoked barbecue.
Oh,
Yeah, I make good barbecue. I make good everything. Homemade pasta. I make homemade pasta.
I bet.
Um, I don't love to bake, but everybody loves it when I do.
And that's I've heard that with people that love cooking. The baking thing, not so much.
Well,
It's
because it's a chemistry thing, right?
uh-huh.
I so there's a difference in a chef and a cook, right?
Right.
A cook cooks for a purpose and an end result, and a chef loves to create beautiful things for people they care about or for a purpose that they care about. I love to make pretty food and I love to love people. I love to sit down at a table and have people go, "Oh my gosh, this is the best lasagna I've ever had. This is the best
Mhm.
brisket I've ever had." And it's not because I like, oh yeah, because I'm the best. It's because I'm meeting their need. Like I love that about food. It's why I like real estate because I'm meeting a need. And I like to just that's how I love people. It's making food. We have a new pastor at our church and we did a dessert reception and everything was bite size, 1 or 2 bites, and they have 6 people in their family, and every single person in their family had their favorite dessert on that table. There was
Mhm.
cherry pie, there was key lime pie, there was chocolate tarts, there was dirt cake for their little girl, there everything, and it all little, so that you could have some of everything. Um, I had a team, I didn't do it all, but it was extravagant because I feel like when you've been loved extravagantly, which I have, you should love others extravagantly.
Yeah.
So I do.
Oh, that's wonderful. Tell me, whenever you gotta, oh, let's see, I just lost my eyes thinking about the things I like to eat.
Sorry, I'll make them for you when you're in town.
No, I'm out in my garden. I grow. I don't know. You can buy them at the grocery store, but I got a row of eggplants, and there's only two things I know what to do. Three with the eggplant: either fry it, or you make eggplant parmesan, or
Yep.
you make baba ganoush. And I make all three. And that's the
Okay.
only reason I grow. It's the only time I ever make those is when they're ripe out of the garden, and I never ever do that stuff outside of going to the grocery. I never go buy that stuff at the
An
grocery. I
eggplant.
just
Yeah, yeah,
don't. I
yeah.
don't ever do it. But when it's in the garden, I'm like, it's eggplant season. So I make things that get real creative with that garden. Tell me, real estate wise, any key advice or something you would like to tell a homeowner or someone buying their first home, maybe a seasoned homeowner, any key clue to help them have a smooth purchase or sell?
Don't wait for things to get better. I mean, don't. Things are going to be what they're going to be, and the climate is always changing in the world of lending, in the world of real estate, in the world of selling, and in the world of buying. So we operate because something changes in our life. And if you're going to your next step, or your family is growing, or your footprint is shrinking, or you're transitioning, or you're ready to invest, find the right people to support your ventures,
Mm-hmm.
educate yourself with wise people that have done it before, and don't wait for the perfect season because there is no perfect season. I tell that to people who want to have kids too. Don't wait till you're ready. Just do it. Just
Yeah, you
wait. I
want
mean,
it
you got to
ready.
be ready when you're buying something. You got to have your down payment. You have to understand the process. But so for me, if it's a seasoned person, then I'll remind them of the past,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's never been perfect. There's always something. When interest rates were 2.5%, prices were astronomically high and you couldn't win a bid unless you had a cash offer half the time, right? So it's never perfect. Just understand the product, understand the market, find people that know what they're doing better than anyone else, and then trust your professional.
Yeah.
We're
Trust your.
professionals for a reason.
Yep.
I go to a lot of classes.
A lot of
A
classes.
lot of classes.
Yeah.
People text me and are like, hey, can I go look at that? I'm like, nope, I'm in a class because things are changing. But that's good that I go to a lot of classes. I'm always learning. I've always been learning and I always will learn. So don't like, yeah, just trust your professional. Understand who they are, look at what they've done in the past, and know that they know their field better than you probably do. Because while most people buy and sell a home every 7 to 10 years nowadays, that in a 50-year time frame is, let's just say, 7 homes, right? I sold 7 homes in July. I've done it more.
Yeah.
So,
And the rules change,
and the rules change. And
every
and I'm
company's
dealing
different.
with a sweet lady from Alaska right now that bought something for cash this past week. She's lived in the same house since 1991.
Oh, wow.
She hasn't bought anything since
Yeah.
1991. And she's moving from Alaska to Florida. It's way different here than in Alaska. So
Yeah.
she
And
trusts
I'm
me.
sure she's quoted you what's valid in
Mhm. In
1991 and true
1991.
of her
Yep.
experience in 1991.
But you know what she does? She does trust me because I've
Good.
produced my value for her, and I have
Yeah.
an incredible digital buyers packet. And so I give you so much information when you start working with me that
Hmm.
I try to make it a little fun because you're buying something really great.
Yeah.
So,
So let's maybe a sentence or two or less, because we're going to come back and do another podcast
mhm,
totally dedicated to this. On the calendar, it's the 16th of August. Tomorrow is a big change in real estate world, and there's lots of myths, lots of unknowns.
mhm.
And what do you have to say about the NAR?
More paperwork does not mean that the business has changed.
There you
It
go.
just means that the way we're presenting what we're doing has changed. We're still doing the same job. We're still probably going to make around the same amount of money, and it's still going to come out of the gross sale of a product. And it
Hmm.
doesn't really matter if you have to disclose it to both your buyers and your sellers separately and together, or if you don't, because you should be disclosing it anyway.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna sit down and do a longer.
Yeah.
That's a much
And the
longer.
sky is not falling.
You're right.
It's not.
You're right. It's
So
is a wonderful time to buy a home. It always is,
it
but
always is.
there's some things
Homeownership.
happening great
I
right
have a
now.
young lady and her new husband that have saved up $100,000 and they don't want to buy a home in St. Louis because they don't want to live in St. Louis. They want to buy a beach condo for their first purchase. And
Hmm.
then they'll buy a home when they decide where they want to live. And talking to her and having this, and we'll find her beach condo, but she spends $3,100 a month on rent. I
Mm.
was like, how about this? How about you buy something in a very safe area in St. Louis that's going to cost you between $2,400 and $2,800 a month? You use the fact that you've never bought a home before, and you use that 3.5% down there, and then we take the rest and buy you a condo down here
Yeah.
because then you're not wasting your money. But she's never been told that by anybody.
Yeah. And now she's got compounding appreciation over time.
Yes.
And
Yes. And so
realize
I will
capital.
refer her to a realtor up there. I'm going to send her to you for both loans, and she's going to have her dreams come true
Yeah.
in Florida and not waste her money in Missouri. And that's what I do. That's why I do
That's
what I do.
that's a win for everybody.
Yeah,
And for
absolutely.
them. How does that make you feel when you close a home, a
Oh, it makes
transaction?
me feel great. Not it makes me feel great. I've made somebody happy.
Yeah,
And I'm not done when we close. Like
that's true.
I'm going from here to a birthday party of a client.
That's
So
awesome.
And after that, tomorrow morning, I'm going to go meet the HVAC guy for the condo I sold 2 weeks ago so they can put a new air conditioner in it. I don't have to go meet their people, but I will because they're my clients
Yeah,
for life, not for 30 to 45 days. So,
that's awesome. Wanda, if someone's looking to buy or sell a home, what is the best way for them to reach you?
well, they can go to the Premier Property Group in Miramar Beach's website, and I am there, or they can go to my website, Best Life Realty Group, Best Life Realty Floor FL.com. And they can call me if they want. Can you put my info in?
Sure can.
Okay. They can call me, they can email me, or I can get you a QR code so they can just scan the QR code.
Perfect. All right. Hey, I'm going to put all of your contact links down below.
Awesome.
They'll be attached to this. So if you're listening to us or watching us, you'll be able to find the links to get a hold of Wanda directly.
Yeah.
It's awesome talking to you.
It's so good to talk to you. I'm glad we did this.
You.
Yep. I appreciate you.
Oh, thanks. Well, that's a wrap for this one on Between Two Doors. Wanda, it was a pleasure talking to you. We're going to do this again. We're going to talk about the NAR specifically and answer a bunch of questions on that because I've been doing a crash course on that as well. So until then, thank you.
Yep. Talk to you soon.